Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Come on, we're from Punjab. We're in Punjab. I'm sure you all have pronounce good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's much better. Much better. How many sitting here who has a parent who drives a taxi, bus, auto rickshaw, anything that has to do with driving? Please raise your hand. No one? Well, my father drives a taxi, and I'm very proud of it. I'm not even supposed to be here. I really don't think I should be here. I have worked hard jobs to succeed. I should be driving a taxi in New York. I should be pumping gas. I should be selling printing paper, etc., etc., etc. Through my short journey, I realized that success comes with its own trials and tribulations. I have been wounded many times, and I picked on myself, and I looked for the right path. I inspired my own self that there's no one else who's going to pay my way other than me. See, I work hard jobs, like I said, printing, pumping gas, selling printing paper, selling sneakers at Foot Locker. बाकी टैक्सी तो मैंने विरासत में अच्छी मिली सी. Born in Prince Sikri, near Fagwara, along with my 4 siblings and my mother, we migrated to the US in 1995. My father had migrated earlier in the late 80s to pursue his American dream. And as I stand here, I don't have any memories with my father before migrating to the US. Meaning he went in a ship where he spent 3 months from one part to the other, and then he had to get his papers, yada, yada, yada. And as I was roughly 11 years old, and I didn't speak one word of English. My mother had no formal education, and my older brother, who was I believe 17 at the time, had to quit his school to support a family of 7. He had to work with my dad in order to make our ends meet. During high school, I faced my own challenges. When I was 15, this is when I started working in construction. I was painting walls. I would get paid about anywhere between $60 to $65 a day. On weekends, I pumped gas. And I also played basketball, soccer. I was a pretty good athlete. But I also had to make sacrifices in order to help my mother and father contribute to the income statement or asset side of the transaction. And I took pride in it because my father from 1995 to 2003, he didn't take a single day off. And that had a lot of influence on me. I never wanted to go to college because I saw it as a burden. That why spend money on getting an education when I could start working at 18 and help my father retire early. But my sister, we had a genius in the family as well. She's a hematologist and oncologist. She wrote my college essays and filled out my college applications so I can go to school. Without knowing, I started receiving letters, and ultimately I had to go to school. I had no choice. So when I went to school, I looked at other ways of making money, but we had our own taxi in the house. So I worked 4 days. I went to school 4 days, and I drove taxi Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I picked up very successful executives. I picked up, actresses. I picked up unsuccessful people like me who were struggling to find their way. And during school, I did 5 internships with top-tier branded companies and top financial firms in the world at that time. But I also graduated at one of the worst economic, if not the worst economic times of our time in 2008. So I had to think outside the box that at this time, if I do the same thing as the Harvard the Harvard, the Columbia, or other Ivy League schools or kids are doing, then I would never get a job. But I had a skill, I had a taxi, it gave me access to a particular network. And I knew from driving taxi in college that where all these successful executives live. So what I did, there's an avenue called Park Avenue. I don't know if many of you went to New York, and West End Avenue. Park Avenue is basically where most of the financial institutions are, and West End Avenue is usually where all these executives live, or most of these executives live. So I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I would be driving around, and I was hoping, and I would paste my resume in a folder, stick it in the back of the cab, and hopefully one of them would pick. If you have a never giving up attitude, somebody will grab your hand and show you the right path. For my luck, and a lot of these executives, or some of these executives, they actually called me into the office and they showed me the right path. Harjit, this is not the right time, but you continue to follow up. Every month, I would follow up with these executives. I would usually hear, hey, this is not the right time, we're still on hiring freeze, but continue to follow up because they saw the persistence in me. They knew I was hardworking. They knew that I did. Usually people do one internship. I did 5. Right? And that kind of took a turn for the good. I could give you one unsuccessful story and one successful story where I started my career in Wall Street. Once I met an executive from a major Wall Street firm. He was head of trading. You know how you trade stocks, bonds. He was covering European markets. He sat behind my cab, and that day something happened in Citigroup, and a gentleman named Vikram Pandit, who used to be the CEO at that time, we started discussing about him, and then this gentleman used to work for him. And he saw how up to date I was in terms of, I read my newspaper every morning. I read Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and Financial Times. That was my good cup of coffee as I'm driving around whenever I park. I kept myself up to date. I kept my skill set up to date. He saw that. He said, Harjit, why don't you call me at 4:30 a.m. in the morning? This is when he starts his day, 4:30 a.m. in the morning to cover European markets. So that's what I did. He said, Harjit, can you come to our office next week? And I did. I went to his office. He spoke to me about 45 minutes. He asked me, Harjit, I'm really impressed by your background. I really think you have a can-do attitude, and you don't consider any task too small. And that actually, in terms of driving a taxi, that kind of gave me another encouragement that I should do this, right, more seriously. I did, but in terms of getting results, this was getting results. Then he introduced me to the HR. Within a month and a half, I interviewed the company 4 times. If I would have applied on the formal website, I would have never gotten that interview. I was competing against somebody from Harvard, somebody from Columbia, and NYU. But I landed that interview because I was driving a taxi. But unfortunately, that particular institution was on hiring freeze, and that never worked out. But I think a month or 2 later, I picked up another successful healthcare executive. He was starting his own private equity fund. He sat behind my cab, and he was checking his phone, and all of a sudden he saw my resume. He started scanning it, and I could see him in the rearview mirror. And he politely said, "Impressive resume." I said, "Thank you." I said, "What do you do?" He said, "Look, I used to be a very successful, I was a partner in a very successful private equity fund. Now I want to start my own $500 million fund where I want to make investment into these different classes of biotech companies or early stage companies." So I became a little excited. I said, "Do you have any analyst or associate opportunity?" He looked at me, he said, "Yes, we do." Then he asked me, "Can you walk me through my resume?" And I walked my profile. And he said, "Have you interviewed anywhere?" I said, "I interviewed at hundreds of places. But unfortunately, I really can't put that I'm driving a taxi for the last 1 year. There's a gap on my resume. And second, it's a hiring freeze." So we get to his location on 34th and Park. I still remember this. And he's still a good friend. he asked me to lower my window, and he gave me his business card. He's next week, come to my office. And ultimately, this gentleman offered me a job in his company. So this is how my life started on Wall Street. There are 3 lessons that I learned, and I want to share that with you. 1, no one gives you that opportunity. Nobody will ever come to your door, knock on your door, saying, come sir, come work for me. You have to go and find that opportunity and hit it like you're hitting a lost ball 6. That's the closest cricket analogy I could come to. And 2, never ever give up. So many people say that 99% of people fail because they give up too easily. You want to separate yourself from there. And 3, you have to be persistent. You can't tell others about when you haven't succeeded. If you are persistent, the other person will look, this guy is following up, I should give him 10 or 20 minutes of my time at least. I think those are the 3 lessons. And last, be thankful, be grateful. Because when you're cribbing about something that you don't have, right, you're only putting yourself down. But when you have shukrana, or you're thanking people on an everyday basis, and you're thankful to God, I think you put yourself in a totally different class. Thank you, and that's my story. Thank you. Thank you.